Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of MetaMarket Weekly. I am your co-host Justin along with Fernando. We're excited to be here today. It's been a couple of weeks. I was unavailable last week, so that's why we didn't have a show, but we're excited to be back and we got a lot to talk about. Apparently I'm tongue-tied today. Anyway, what's up, Fernando? How are you?
Hey, Justin, I'm doing great. Amazing to have you back here with us on the podcast. And yeah, so there's, I feel like last week a lot of interesting things happened.
It was a big
And
week. Yeah,
it was a huge week, in my opinion.
yeah,
And
I agree.
we're going to be talking about, the reason why it was a huge week. And as usual, I'm going to be sharing a quick market analysis, and we're going to be talking about several articles. So
Yeah, perfect.
let's begin by bringing my trading view profile. Just before I jump into the trading view, I also wanted to mention that it's not just a big week for crypto and all that. Also, Meta One. So last week we added several new coins to the exchange. We added XRP, Solana, Dogecoin, Monero, Binance USD, Cardano, and I believe that's it, right, Justin? Or was there more?
I think that was it. Monero. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There's six in total, so it's
yeah,
exciting, expanding,
yeah.
growing.
So
Yeah,
I said six coins. So
yeah,
yeah, most of them are ready for trading. Some of them are not. Some of them, you can just make a deposit for the coin, and I don't know, maybe before the end of this week or sometimes mid next week, they're gonna be available for trading as well. But we're growing. A lot of people were requesting to have XRP. XRP is now available for deposits and trading.
yeah.
So we're all very excited. There's a lot of things going on, and I hope that everyone listening to this podcast is excited too. So let me,
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
gonna bring my trading view profile. There we go. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. There we
And
go.
yeah, before we dive into this, Meta has also been holding really strong too through kind of this, I don't know, it's been a weird time in the crypto space.
Yeah,
So, it's good. It's this is why we built the coin. And I think one of the things I want to talk about is a little bit is about, we talk about Bitcoin on the show every single week, of course, because
yeah,
OG. But a lot of people say, well, why don't you talk about Meta One coin more? And one of the reasons, one of the fundamental kind of mechanisms of Meta One is it's a stable coin. So we don't see a lot of this like major movement all the time. The movement happens sometimes when we have high volumes, other times when we're assigning an asset, things like that. But we're going to have a lot of these lull times too, where the coin stays rather stable, like within a few cents or something like that. And that was the point of it, right? Because I think you and I have talked about this a lot before, where the issue with one of the things with like El Salvador, as much as I think it's amazing that they've adopted Bitcoin, one of the issues with Bitcoin is the volatility, right? So if you are
yeah,
somebody there who gets your paycheck in Bitcoin and you don't immediately spend it right away, let's say in the first 6 hours, 12 hours, depending upon what day it is, you could be in a lost situation just like that. And that's the difference between kind of a lot of these projects out there that are going to have really big movements versus something like a stable coin, and particularly this very unique kind of niche that we've carved out called an appreciating stable coin, where things are going to be a lot more stable and a lot more kind of with larger increases, depending upon what the market's doing, and also with our asset values, our asset increases. But a lot of the time it's also just going to be sort of steady, and that's what we want. because the ultimate use case of Meta One and where we're ultimately getting to is to be able to transact on a regular basis and be able to buy and sell things with Meta One to a point where if you get paid in Meta One, you know, you're going to be fine going to sleep and not worrying about if you're going to lose 50% overnight. So
Absolutely. I agree with you. You know, if you ask me what would I prefer, a appreciating stable coin, you know, that's not very volatile, that is usually, you know, the same price, or to go all in on Bitcoin. You know, I would probably be you know, I would prefer the stable coin,
yeah,
because sometimes, you know, it gets hard, you know, as a crypto investor, if you have all your money in Bitcoin, or, you know, another cryptocurrency, sometimes you just have terrible days. You know, I personally, I'm a big holder of phantom currency. And, you know, a couple of months ago, we reached like 60, 65 cents. And now we're like at 25 cents. So that's,
that's a
you know,
big move. Wow.
it's, yeah, massive move. So I lost more than half my net value.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's crazy, you know. And if you ask me, you know, what do I prefer, something stable or something that's very volatile like Bitcoin, that it was 69,000 and then it went all the way to 17,000. I mean, I know eventually, once there's mass adoption and all institutions, you know, banks, business stores, you know, shopping markets or whatever, once they all start adopting Bitcoin, the market is gonna become less stable. There's gonna be less movement
Yeah, less
of the
volatile,
price.
you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna become less volatile. But
Yeah.
for now, you know, for those of you, like you were saying, that they were asking why there was not a lot of price movement, that's not a bad thing. You know,
Not.
that's yeah, that's actually a good thing. And
It's
you
a
should
really
be
good
happy
thing.
that we don't have these massive you know, swings of value in our assets. So
Yeah.
anyways, I'm gonna jump back on talking about the price movement of Bitcoin for now. So as you can see here, I was expecting us to already be on this channel on top, this parallel channel, but we're still here. So I you know, since we're still at this level, I traced some lines here showing what I'm expecting to happen. So this trend line has been very good, indicating where the price of Bitcoin is bouncing. And I do believe that we're probably going to bounce somewhere around here, which should be like 28K. You know, probably we're gonna keep going up and down a little bit. And I've been asked, like, why does this happen? You know, why one day, you know, let me go on a daily candle, because we're in 2-day candle. So yeah, why one day, you know, the price of Bitcoin goes up like 1,000, 1.5K, and the next day it goes down. And you know, it's been happening a lot. So the reason why this happens is because crypto, you know, Bitcoin assets, and a lot of, you know, a lot of things you can trade, not just crypto. They're in future markets. So future markets are pretty much a casino where you can bet on the price of an asset. If you
Like
ask me, I think that should be illegal. I don't like it a lot
it's like
because
flushing money down the toilet.
yeah, and it forget about that. The thing is that it leaves a lot of room for manipulation,
Yeah.
and it forces the market. So what do I mean by this? So let's take FTX for example. FTX was offering future trading on their exchange. And you know, in future trading, you can do leverage like 50x leverage,
Mhm.
100x leverage.
Mhm.
So you need to be careful, because you know, if a trade goes very wrong, you know, it can go very like times 100 wrong. So that's what happened to FTX. You know, they were doing future trading, and you know, the house always wins, right? but apparently, the negligence of the owners of FTX was so big that they were not using stop loss. They were not really using like an artificial intelligence to manage risk and make sure that they don't lose any money. So they were doing future trading on the way up, and when the market started going down, they didn't have stop loss, they didn't have any plan or whatever. And I don't know how much leverage they were using, but they lost around $10 billion. So they lost this money that they didn't have. They were borrowing people's money
Yeah,
to trade it, and they lost it all. And what happens when
crazy.
they lose all these their customers' money? The company collapses, and there's more companies involved in FTX. There's banks like Silicon Valley Bank,
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean, it was the
there's
second largest crypto exchange, centralized crypto exchange on the planet. Yeah,
exactly. So they lose all this money, and they lose customers' funds to begin with, and then they lose all this money from other banks, institutions that they don't have. And what happens? So the government, they come out and they bail them out.
yeah, they
So
bail them
they
out.
bail,
Yeah.
yeah, they bail these companies out, creating inflation, giving them like a get out of jail free card.
Yep.
And in many cases, the members that lost the money for having their funds on FTX, they don't even get their money back. Or maybe they do, but they get like 20%. So they protect the banks, they protect FTX, but the customers, the regular people, they're left holding the bag.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no reason for that, because they bail out the bank, they bail out FTX, but the regular people, they don't care about them. So if you ask me, I think future trading should be illegal,
I
because
agree.
it leaves a lot of room for manipulation of prices, for for doing fraud, and for crashing the economy. And this is the reason why this happens. So we can see that there's a lot of movement, like sideways movement. And the reason why is because major cryptocurrency exchanges that have a lot of liquidity, they're pushing the market up and down, up and down. That way they're liquidating people, and they're bringing more money to their liquidity pool. So I mean, this is highly unethical in my opinion, and they don't really care if the price goes up or down, because they're still making money. So they're leaving room for market cycles to be longer. They leave room for the price of an asset to just be like kind of like sideways, and it's just terrible. I mean, I wish, if they want to do future trading on oil or gold or whatever, I mean, I guess I mean, I don't think it's ethical, but if they want to do it, I mean, I guess that's their deal. But the moment they started doing that on Bitcoin and crypto, they're pretty much defeating the purpose of having a decentralized international currency that's hedged against inflation. So I don't know, man. I just hope that someday we make it illegal to future trade, cryptocurrencies.
I
We'll
don't,
see.
yeah, I mean, you can talk about stock market and all that. I mean, it's already rigged anyway all day long when it comes to futures, but I just think it's insane that it's even allowed to futures trade crypto. It just shouldn't be. Like
I agree.
that's nuts. And it's like that's like something that like we would never ever participate over at Meta One. Like we would never participate in that kind of futures trading or allow people to futures trade on our platform, because it's insane. I mean, first and foremost, it doesn't matter how much research and kind of whatever you do, you're literally guessing what the
Yeah.
future is going to be, and none of us can do that accurately. I mean, but for the people who win, I mean, it's just a combination. Well, they use a lot of AI tools these days, et cetera, and it's just a combination of probabilities. I mean, that's all you're doing is like, what's gonna be the probability today of what's gonna happen next. And I think it's nuts. And the people who do it,
Yeah.
It's got you gotta have big balls to do that, but it's just I agree with you. I don't think that it's
Or a lot of liquidity, because if you have a lot of
yeah,
liquidity, you can move the market, then there's no risk for you.
yeah.
And that's what they do. So I'm going to give an example. So let's say that right now we're at 30K, and one guy bets $10 million that the market's going to go up, and
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know, I'm going to get out at 32K, and I'm going to make 5 million. So the moment that you place your bet that the price is going to go up, it is registered on their exchange. So their platform knows that you placed that bet. So they have that information. So they're like, okay, so this guy is expecting the price to go up. So let's do something. I got $1 billion of liquidity on the exchange. So I'm going to push the price down a little bit to get this guy liquidated. And then we're going to be back on track up. So that's what they do. And the moment that you place a bet on their system, the system, they have like an AI or whatever that lets you know that somebody placed a big bet. So you're just letting them know that you're an easy target, and that, they have a lot of liquidity, and whenever they want, they can push the market down, and that's it for you. So, I don't know.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Well, whatever.
Yeah,
Back
whatever.
to the price. Back to the price of Bitcoin. So yeah, I believe that we're gonna have a bounce here at 28K, most likely somewhere around August, and then we're back on target for this level, this resistance at 36K. And nothing has changed. Right now, I feel like the market sentiment for Bitcoin and crypto overall is very, very good. All of those bad negative news are no longer coming out right now. There's actually, I'm going to be talking in a moment about a few positive things happening. So I think everything is looking great. You know, right now, just the market is going to go sideways a little bit longer because of future trading, and while new laws get created about cryptocurrencies and protecting investors and all that. But everything's looking great. I feel like right now there's no better time to be buying crypto, because we're already, from the highest point of the last market until today, we're almost 2 years in. And you know usually, it's been the norm that market cycles last 4 years, so we're already halfway there. And usually, it's not a law, but it's a norm that we've seen, that the bull market begins after the halving. So the halving is gonna happen, I don't know, like 5 or 6 months away from today.
Mhm.
So we're very close.
End of the
The bull
year.
market, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's happening. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen right now. The only thing that we have to continue to do is be patient, accumulate, and always, don't overinvest. Don't put a mortgage on your house and go all in, because at the end of the day, it's an asset, and you gotta do diligence. But everything's looking great, and it's not just for crypto. It's also looking great for the stock market. Right now, the S&P 500 is almost about to break the next resistance, which is at around 4,600 points. I think we barely touched it, and then yeah, we barely touched it, and then it went down. So it's looking great. This means that the market is healthy, that it's continuing to go up. I personally think that very soon we're gonna reach this major resistance at 4,800, and then very likely it will retrace something kind of like, let me see. Yeah, maybe like something like this, once we reach this level. No, I actually think it's gonna retrace harder, but definitely we're gonna reach this level very soon, maybe by the end of September, and then we'll probably have a tiny retracement. I don't know, maybe 500 points, 600 points. We'll see. But everything's looking great. And which brings me to the first article that I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm very sure that you and a lot of our viewers are already familiar with what happened last week, that a US judge ruled that Ripple XRP is not a security. So this is a massive win, not just for Ripple, but for crypto in general. This means that, you know, that the US, I mean, I don't know if the government, but there's several people in the US that are gonna fight for freedom. They're gonna fight for what's fair. They're gonna fight against the SEC. And yeah, so almost immediately after this the ruling was taken, the price of Ripple, it mooned. It went from I think it was trading like at 47 cents, and then it went all the way up till I think it went a little bit further than this. Let me confirm with you. It
It was a
went,
big move.
yeah, it was a big move, but it happened in 24 hours. So that's why you gotta take your chances, because when the price of an asset goes up, it goes up, and you're not gonna find it again at those lower prices that you were seeing it. So it was at 47 cents, and then it went all the way to 94 cents, and then it had a quick correction. Now it's trading around 78, 80 cents. So massive win for crypto. In my opinion, this is going to open the road for a lot of companies and cryptocurrencies in the US, because a lot of companies, including Coinbase and Kraken, they were already thinking about leaving the US because there were, there was no clarity, no regulations. But this massive win is gonna pave the way for more good things here in the US regarding crypto. And yeah, so Coinbase, they announced that they were gonna start trading XRP again. I don't know if many of you are familiar that XRP was delisted from Coinbase exchange about 2 years ago.
Yep.
And they're now trading XRP again. And Kraken as well, the listed XRP. And I didn't know, I was just checking here a while ago, and I saw that Kraken finally listed XRP again.
Nice.
So massive win for XRP. And not just them, Meta One, we just listed XRP as well.
Yeah.
So great things for XRP. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge thing for the entire market. It's just, as Robert kind of talked about on yesterday's July video update for Meta One, it's amazing to sort of see this unfold. We have been talking this talk and walking this walk as a project. We went up against the SEC. We've been talking about this fact that they shouldn't even be in any of crypto's business, and
Yeah.
really it's a for the people, by the people created technology, and it should be able to be freely used as long as you're not harming someone else or their property. The government the SEC shouldn't even have a say. And so it was honestly surprising that this happened, in my opinion, because of the fact that the US system and the government is so corrupt, including the judicial system. I was really surprised that this actually happened. Because this is probably, one of the very few, positive victories, especially on the public side of things. So, I mean, I think it's huge for the entire industry. I also think it just hits a huge blow in the SEC, which makes me smile. And I think it's awesome. And hats off to XRP for standing up and doing the same thing. And I just think it's interesting, now Coinbase is taking the same Same kind of legal approach that Meta One did. In our SEC case of no jurisdiction, they're citing the same thing, that SEC doesn't have jurisdiction over them and over their business, because of course we've talked about the SEC is suing Coinbase for no reason. So I think it's cool, and I think I would love to see some continued people stand up in the judicial system, judges, and really look at this and say, this is what's supposed to happen, and maybe we'll see some more wins on the public side for the crypto space. But yeah, man, I think it's super exciting and awesome, and a great step in the right direction for sure.
I agree, and like you were saying, I personally was not expecting XRP to win this one. To be
No,
honest,
neither.
I thought that they were gonna lose, and almost immediately, then they were gonna announce FedNow,
Yep.
which is the next article that I'm gonna talk about.
Yep.
But it was not the case. They won, and after they won, FedNow still happened. So I mean, I don't know 100% what FedNow really is going to be, but I have my suspicions that it's like phase one for a CBDC program. According to what they say, it's gonna be like kind of like new I don't know, infrastructure for payments, kind of like Swift but better, more instant, and apparently more user friendly. To be honest, I don't know a lot about what FedNow is going to be, but knowing the government, it's stage one for a CBDC. And today it was just announced by JP Morgan and Wells Fargo that they're one of the major banks that are going to be using FedNow. Do you have any thoughts on FedNow? I mean, do you think it's going to be like a CBDC, or what are your thoughts?
For the research that I have done, it's a precursor to a CBDC. So it's not really blockchain technology. It's just the Swift system upgraded in its current capacity, where you can now do instantaneous payments 365 days of the year. So if you want to pay your mortgage on Christmas, you can do that without any delays. It's the same sort of thing too, where if you go to your bank and you send a wire transfer, if it's domestic, maybe you're lucky to see that money in 6 hours, 12 hours. If it's international, it could be 3, 5, 12, 15 days, right? So with this new system, it's supposed to be instantaneous, where you can send a wire transfer and literally the money is in your account immediately. But I think that it's obviously way more than that. I think that it's a precursor to a CBDC. The US government keeps on saying we're not doing CBDCs, but if you look at their actions, just like we say in some of the words, they've got all these pilot programs and studies with X, Y, and Z, and with this bank and that bank, and MIT is working with JP Morgan Chase and the government to do all these studies, and they just did a whole study on the feasibility of CBDCs that came out a few months ago after an executive order in March. So they're moving in that direction, and from what I can see, this is what FedNow is it's a precursor to that. And I also think that's the reason why the SEC and the government has stepped up their persecution of cryptocurrency and blockchain in general lately, because it's all about positioning these big Wall Street players like Chase and others who to be able to just replace all of these different ones. I mean, it's just like last time, 2 weeks ago, when we talked about I don't remember the name of the exchange, but that exchange that was launched, that is basically a Wall Street backed exchange. It's like
Prometheus, I think.
It should basically just be run by the SEC, because it pretty much is a SEC Wall Street backed exchange, and it's that sort of thing. It's like take out the biggest player in the room that's independent. Binance, which you can, I have my grit with Binance, but they're still, not Wall Street. And be able to replace them with a Prometheus or something like that. And that's exactly what they were trying to do. And that's why I think this that's why I think this XRP, public, sort of acknowledgement of that is really big. And I'm interested to see what happens next, because I think that people are starting to
Yeah.
realize that the SEC and the government don't have as much power as they allude to. And it's going to be fun. So, yeah, what do you think about
Absolutely.
FedNow?
I agree with everything you just said, and definitely, I think it's a Trojan horse. I think
Yeah,
that's what you call it, right?
yeah,
It looks like a gift, like, oh, it's an upgrade on the current system, like now
yeah,
365 days, and
yeah,
quicker and all that.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, it's just something bad is gonna come out of it.
yeah.
So I guess we'll see. I mean, I'm not excited about it, but it is what it is. Hopefully people will keep waking up, informing themselves, and right now it's I feel like right now there's a very small window of opportunity to fight back. And
Yes.
if we don't fight back in this small window of opportunity, it's gonna be late, because once AI is ready and FedNow and all that stuff, it's gonna be impossible to beat this Hydra. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
five-headed monster that if you cut one head off, another is gonna grow. So we need to inform all of ourselves right now before it's too late.
I think it already is a five-headed monster. I think what we need to do, but I totally agree with what you're saying. I just think that we have an opportunity right now where the five-headed monster doesn't have like
It doesn't regenerate.
it doesn't have like the nuclear goo that comes out of its mouth that just like eviscerates you. It hasn't
Yeah,
gotten that ability yet, and but it's about to. And if we don't do
yeah,
something and we don't figure out a way to cut the five heads off this monster, then we are going to be in a situation where that nuclear crap is going to come out of its mouth and eviscerate all of us, and then it's going to be over. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think this is why it's important for everyone to be using their voice to stand up, to talk about this stuff, and to take the action that you can take. Because I see that same thing. I think we have a small window here.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know, maybe some people will not like what I'm gonna say, but I feel like Donald Trump is the weapon that we're gonna use to fight that monster. I know he's not the best. I know, he he's got a lot of things where he has to improve, but I personally think he's the deep state's worst enemy. And I just hope that I'm not wrong. I hope that he's elected, and he fights back. And yeah, I mean, I have my hopes up on Trump by far. And we'll see what's gonna happen, because I think the elections are gonna be on November of next year, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, there's still a lot of time to go for the elections. Hell, I'm thinking we might not even get there. I think maybe Biden is gonna be kicked out of presidency before the
Would that
elections.
be amazing? In handcuffs, that would be the most
Yeah, I
amazing
mean,
thing ever. Yeah, I don't
there's
know.
just
We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. I think there's going to be one of two things that are going to happen. I think that either they're going to try to steal the election again and do everything they can to do so, or they're going to create some kind of event like another COVID or some
yeah,
kind of other major black swan event that is going to prevent the 2024 election from happening. So we'll see. I mean, it's definitely that, but I think that it's the next year is going to be fascinating. And
yeah,
I think that just like futures trading, you can't, yeah, I mean, I can't predict what's going to happen in an hour. I mean, this world is just
yeah,
there's so unprecedented and so much we don't know. And I feel like we're living in the most exciting and unexpected and unprecedented time ever. And I don't think that you can look back on history and really compare it to this time. I mean, I think that it's just so, there's just such a crazy amount of craziness happening in the world, and
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting, man. But we're on the right side of history. That's what's important. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're doing our thing over here, just like lots of other groups are all over the world, and just more people need to get involved.
Absolutely. We're adding our small grain of sand to the equation. And I mean, if I'm being honest, forget about all the crazy things that Joe Biden and his son are doing. I personally think that, Joe Biden, his health isn't that good anymore. I've seen his last videos where he's talking and he's falling asleep, and then he's, God save the queen, and he said, he's delirious. So I don't,
Oh,
his health is not good for a re-election. So definitely something's gonna happen. That's for sure. And so yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
yeah,
He's saying that he wants to back the U.S. dollar by Bitcoin. I mean, I don't really know what that means, and I don't even know if that's possible. But
interesting.
I like that he's talking about Bitcoin. I think that Robert F. Kennedy, he's a great human being. I think I feel like he's one of those people that he wants to eradicate the left and the right and just become one. So I think his ideals are very good, and I do hope that he eventually gets up there and helps the U.S. and the world become a better place. I just don't think right now is the time for him. I think right now, we need to drop that bomb, which is Donald Trump, and after that, we'll get the chance to do things the right way.
Well,
But
someone mentioned to me the other day, what, in a crazy world where, everything went amazing. Well, imagine like a split ticket. This has actually never happened in US history where we've had
mm,
a one party president and then another party vice president. But imagine like a Trump Robert F.
yeah,
Kennedy Jr.
that would be amazing.
Administration. I think that would be pretty interesting, man. But it's a pipe dream, of course. I don't think there's a relatively high chance of it happening, but
It
it's
has to happen,
a
man.
nice
It
thing to
has to
think about.
happen. Yeah, man, because that would be the end of this fight between left and right. And back in the day was a fight against left and right, and now it's the far right, the far
Right.
left.
Yeah.
So we're so, what's the word, like we're so distant from each other now. I mean, back in the day was maybe something small, like, oh, they like the red and I like the blue, and I like the north and I like the south. But right now, it's the difference between the right and the left is massive. The right is very conservative in values, religious values, being a decent human being, and the left is very, that the trans agenda, the pedophiles, and all that stuff. So it's just too much. We need to find a way to get along with each other and treat ourselves with love and respect, because it is too much, man. I mean, I think about our kids in the future and the world they're gonna live in. I mean, we gotta do something, and when I say we gotta do something, I don't mean fight and war and all that. I mean, we just gotta become the best versions of ourselves and inspire other people to do that, so we can grow and we can make this world a better place. Because I personally don't like the world right now, and I mean, I feel it is my job, your job, and everyone who is aware of this to make the difference. Because if we don't do it, nobody else is gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. There's no way for me to agree with you more. I mean, that's what it is. As I think I've said this before, I stole this line from Andy Frisella. The biggest rebellion that you can have is personal excellence and being an
Absolutely.
independent, self-governed person. I actually like to drop little quotes in some of our groups in Meta that we talk in every day. And the quote I dropped this morning was, the only way to deal with an unfree world is become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. And that was
I love
Albert
it. I
Thomas.
love it.
And yeah, I mean, that is it. So that's what we need to do. We need to, because here's the thing, is that right now, a lot of this country and a lot of this world, we're in victim mentality. We are in, it's like, what happened the minute that the pandemic happened? Everybody ran to the government and asked, what are you going to do about this? So on and so forth. And we have to get away from that mindset. We have to get to a mindset of, we can build things on our own, because when you're independent, when you work towards being independently wealthy, when you work towards being healthy and you're in the gym, when you work towards putting good things into your mind and consuming good content versus reality TV and all the shit that they put out these days, that's mind control, you step out of their system, and then you're not a part of the system anymore. They're not able to take advantage of you and feed off of you, just like in the Matrix. People think it's a movie, it's a documentary. I mean, we may not be
Absolutely.
may not be in these little pods hooked up to an artificial AI,
Maybe.
or maybe we are.
Maybe.
But but it's that representation of when you are inside of the system, consuming their food, consuming their medicine, consuming their entertainment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and asking them to save you, you are hooked up to that in that pod, and they are feeding off of your energy. So when you become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion, that is the biggest thing that you can do. So I agree with you. It's our responsibility, number one, to teach our children this, and second of all, to do it ourselves every single day and be an example for everybody else. And that's the biggest way that you can participate in this. I don't think there's anything else you can do. Writing letters, voting, all of these different things. Sure, do they make some kind of a small difference? Maybe, but in the big grand scheme of things, that is the best thing that you can do, is be so free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. So
Absolutely. And I don't know if you've heard in physics, there is this thing called the Mandelbrot set. So it means that it's the world, it has like its own pattern. And the moment you change one tiny piece of this pattern, the whole pattern changes with that tiny small change. So that's the power of a human being. One person in one town has the ability to change the whole pattern for a city. And when that city changes, a country changes. When that country changes, the planet changes. And it all starts with one person, and that's what we're doing right now, here in this podcast, by talking about this freedom, becoming the best version of yourself. I mean, maybe we don't have 1 million viewers, but hopefully we're inspiring our viewers to jump in this train of thought of becoming better, not being reliant on the government, and just keep pushing forward for a better today, a better tomorrow. And I mean, absolutely, I just hope that things eventually will get better, and just keep pushing. But
yeah,
I'm gonna
absolutely. I mean, we live it every day. That's I think that's what's important, is just consistency of living that every day. And some of you may be wondering, well, why are you talking about this on a cryptocurrency focused podcast? But at the end of the day, like Meta One, our mission, it's really just about freedom. We're using blockchain technology and finance to build a foundation, because we truly believe that, unfortunately, at this moment in time in this world, you've got to have money to make a difference, and you've got to be financially free to be that rebellion. And so that's why we're building what we're building here. But at the end of the day, but the bottom line, it's about freedom. It's about, like you said, making this world a better place, and by living that. And I agree with you. Not that, I was watching a TV show the other day. It was sci-fi, and they were sort of talking about in one of these episodes how during times of big chaos and change, the timelines of humanity are not as rigid and not as fixed. and there's fluidity in the timeline, and that's when a small group of people or even one person can make a massive difference. And I
Yeah,
like this just reflects you, and I totally agree with that. It's like if you look at the moments in history when people have stood up, it usually started with one or two people who were looked at as crazy and insane and all of these different things, but at the end of the day they made such a huge impact on the world. So I think my message to everybody out there is, don't underestimate yourself, and don't underestimate the
absolutely.
power of who you are in from within and what you can do, because the sky is the limit, and really it's all about your mindset, and it's all about what you go out and do and focus on every single day. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, that the power of one, it's incredible what one human being can accomplish. So
Yeah.
there's in quantum physics, there's a law called the observer effect. And it says that when one individual takes a look at a subatomic particle, the act of observing is an act of creation, that you, but by your observation taking place, you are defining reality. And I mean, that's pretty much where we are. We're a collective network of observers, and by observing reality all together, we're interacting with it. If today we're fighting for a better tomorrow, tomorrow's going to be better. But if we're just here angry and complaining about because it's too hard that it's happening, it's going to be more of the same, because we're not using that energy to change. We're just using that energy to complain. And this is a law in quantum physics. I mean, for anyone listening, you can Google it. It's called the observer effect. That's the power of a human being. So we have to use that power to make the difference.
I agree 100%. Yeah, absolutely. So we're living in very exciting times.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
funny how
so
when we went from crypto to personal growth to quantum physics, but it's all linked together.
absolutely, man. Everything is totally.
Yeah. But awesome. So that brings me to the next article that I wanted to share with you guys, that senators introduce a bill to ban Congress from owning stocks. So
Nice.
yeah, I hope this happens. I mean, I don't know if they're actually, another Trojan horse or whatever, but I think this definitely should be the case, because there's a lot of market manipulation in Congress, and I mean, this should be no more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous that we even have to talk about it.
Yeah,
But
and
yes, I agree.
it's crazy how some people in Congress, like Nancy Pelosi, I don't know if I said her name right. So she's not even a trader, and she has extremely higher returns than the best cryptocurrency trader and market trader or whatever. And I mean, she doesn't even know anything about the market. So how do you explain that? You can't. So I feel like this is a very good move in the right direction, and I do hope that this happens. And
I agree.
finally, the last thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that Binance finally integrates the Bitcoin Lightning Network to their exchange. So if you've used the Binance exchange before and the Bitcoin network before, whenever you do a transaction, it's usually around $3 to $4, and the transaction arrives to your wallet in a good day, like in 30 minutes or 40 minutes, because Bitcoin's algorithm is old, and there's a lot of people using it. And with Lightning Network, they're trying to override the old system where it would take you $3, which in very damaged economies like Venezuela or Argentina is a whole day of work, $3. So that's not good for adoption. And also waiting 30 to 60 minutes is not good for adoption either. But now Lightning Network is starting to be adopted, and Lightning Network is like a second layer blockchain, kind of like Matic or Arbitrum. and some of these other two-layer solutions, and it is great. I mean, I tried it the other day. It cost me around 3 cents to make the transaction, and I got my money in like I would say like a minute. So it's amazing for adoption. And I don't know if you have any comments on this, Justin.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I mean, I really like this stuff, and I just love how innovative, humans are. I mean, they take a technology which at the time, of course, in 2005, 6, it was just like the most mind-blowing thing ever. But now we're, 10 plus, almost 15 years down the line, and Bitcoin has a lot of flaws. It's obviously the centralized, the concept of blockchain is incredible that it opened up, but it's slow, it's old, all those different things. And I think this is really cool versus the stupid Bitcoin NFT thing that they tried to do a few months
Yeah,
ago. That just like,
yeah,
oh my God, that was
or
horrible.
Daniels, something like that.
Um, but I think this is really cool. I think, increasing transaction time is important because transaction time is what it's about. That's why we have, that's why we use graphene and the blockchain technology that we have that can do 500,000 transactions a second and larger. Because, if we want to get the world on a blockchain or blockchains, it needs to be super fast and it needs to be able to handle massive transaction volumes. And that's one of the things that is difficult with, with Bitcoin, of course, because we have this 10 transaction per block deal. But with stuff
Yeah,
like this, the Lightning Network, it just makes it easier and more fun for people. And I think anything that opens up more exposure for crypto in general and blockchain is a thumbs up in my book. So I think it's cool.
absolutely. And don't forget about the fees. So imagine you go to Starbucks and you're gonna buy a $4 coffee, and then you're gonna pay that $4 fee. So it makes no sense. But thanks to
Yeah,
Lightning Network, this is now going to be possible, and you're gonna
nice.
pay only like 3 cents, maybe even less. I guess we'll see with time.
That's the way
But
it should be.
yeah, that's about it. That's all I wanted to share with you guys. I don't know, Justin, do you have any other news or articles you want to share with us?
No, I think that we had an awesome show today. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of it. Here's the thing. If one of the things you want to help do is, I understand that, everybody's different, right? So we all speak in our own way. Maybe you're not the kind of person who's going to come on a podcast or start a podcast or things like that, but there's other ways that you can share and you can participate and like be that example, right? But if you like what we're talking about here today, if you think it's worth something, if you feel like the content is good, the best way that you can help us is click that subscribe button and share the show with people. Drop it on your Facebook or your Instagram, send it off to your group text buddies, whatever it is. Let them hear this and listen to it, because at the end of the day, we're just here working to build a community of like-minded people who just all love freedom. That's what it's about. And you don't need to be from the United States. You don't need to be from a certain country, because there are freedom loving people all over this globe that want to see a better world. And that's all we want to do to work towards. It's like the most simple concept ever. But
Yeah,
it's, in this world where, slavery is like the biggest thing out there. It's a difficult subject, but that's why we're here and that's why we're changing it. So share the show, please. It's the most
absolutely.
important thing that you can do. And I'm just excited. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about all the different things that we're doing. Um, I'm excited about just exposing more truth and really focusing on, building tools that can be used for freedom. And yeah, and I'm going to see Sound of Freedom this weekend. So speaking of freedom, I'm excited to see it. If anybody hasn't heard of it, it's a new movie about child sex trafficking. It's a really heavy subject, but something that very much
Yeah,
needs to be talked about. And maybe I'll have a little something to talk about next week about that. But
I'm
that's
gonna watch it too.
yeah, that's it for me. What about you?
I just wanted to mention something about what you were saying about the movie. So I on Twitter, I was seeing that a lot of people were complaining that on the theaters, they were turning off the AC and turning on the lights, and there were a lot of, but in a lot of cities. I mean, not just in one
That's
city, like in
nuts.
different, yeah, because they're trying to make you not to watch that movie,
Yeah,
because the people that are involved in this situation, they're mostly, this ring of sex traffickers. They're mostly in Hollywood, so pretty much they're using their own, they're using movies, which is what they do in Hollywood. So they're using their own medicine to create awareness of what they're doing, and these people do not like it.
yeah,
So I think it's very important that we all are informed about this. I saw this morning that Donald Trump, he screened this movie, I think yesterday, in I don't know where, I think in a country club or whatever. And he was saying that he's very moved by the documentary, and that if he's elected again president, he's gonna make it a death penalty for all the people that do this horrible thing. So hats off to Donald Trump. I think I hope he keeps his word on this. And yeah, so back to Meta One and crypto and freedom and everything. I'm very happy for all of our listeners, and please share our podcast, because the more people that they share this view with us, this energy, the easier it's gonna be for all of us in the near future when we're doing something about the situation in the world right now. And thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
yeah. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. Have a good weekend. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.